You know, I really thought the Democrats finally hit rock bottom. I mean, it seems like everything that could go wrong for this party has gone wrong, but by some miracle, new data has come out that indicates, no, things have gotten even worse for the Democrat Party, which I didn't even think was possible. I mean, guys, just a day ago, I was saying this party has hit rock bottom. Their numbers are so bad that it is impossible for things to get even worse. But by some miracle, it has. As in the last couple of days, we've had new polling data, new studies, and new voter registration numbers that just came out, and things have gotten even worse for this party across the board. Not just one bad data point. No, every single data point is looking awful for this party.
Why are they not trusting us? What's your take? I mean, what are you hearing when you hear this? Why are people not trusting the message we were delivering?
For starters, there's a bombshell study that dropped just a little while ago that really indicates that the Democrat Party in the long run, they have a big problem. Now, I'm not going to say that this study is 100% accurate or it's nonpartisan. It's not. It's conducted by a group that is more to the left. So you can't say, oh, they're a far-right group. They're not. Blue Rose Research is basically a bunch of partisan Democrats, and they try to figure out what happened in 2024, why did Harris do so bad, and they found something very fascinating. They found out that things could have gotten even worse for Democrats in 2024. Yeah, they found out that if every single person voted, again, that every single person that's eligible, if they voted, okay, in 2024, Trump would have won, but by even more. Yeah, he won by roughly 1.5 points in the popular vote. If everyone voted, every single registered voter, Trump would have won by 5 points. Yeah, that means all those people that didn't vote, that decided, screw it, I'm not going to vote, it's not worthwhile, they would have voted for Trump by an insane margin. And Trump would have won the popular vote by 5. At that point, you're talking about states like Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, potentially flipping. More than likely flipping. I mean, Trump plus 5 in the popular vote. Yeah, that probably does mean these Democrat states, they would have flipped. In other words, 2024 was not the worst case scenario for Democrats. No, it could get even worse for them. If these people vote, if these people get registered, things could get even worse for the Democrat Party. That is not good because for decades, not just the last couple of years, but for like 30, 40 years, Democrats relied on high turnout. They won every single election based off of high turnout. While Republicans, they begged for 1% turnout because they knew if a bunch of people voted, they would have gotten crushed. But now it's the complete opposite. Just look at this. Those that voted in 2022 actually voted for Harris by roughly 0.5 point. So the most Democrat voting bloc in 2024 were those that voted, one of the more Democrat groups, they were people that voted in 2022. But not by a lot, by only 0.5 point. Which, yeah, that would mean Harris would have won the popular vote, but at the same time, that would have meant Trump would have still won. He would have won Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan. He would have won them by just enough where, yeah, it would have been closer, but he still would have won. So even then, the best case scenario for Democrats, they slightly win the popular vote, but it's still not enough. And that's a problem for Democrats. Their party right now, it's dying. I mean, this alone should terrify Dems because for decades, they relied on very high turnout to win. But now it's the opposite. It's to a point now where the higher the turnout, the better it is for Republicans, which, by the way, I've been completely vindicated on this. I've been saying this for years now, that higher turnout helps Republicans, at least it helps Trump. We got to see what happens with the Republican Party after Trump, but there are some data points out there to suggest that these trends, they may not be as extreme as they are with Trump, but they may continue. But either way, the Democrat Party already, they're in a lot of trouble. I mean, best case scenario for 2024 would have been if only 22 voters would have voted. And even then, that wouldn't have been enough. At that point, you needed like no one to vote for Harris to barely win. Just to barely win the popular vote. That's not good. For the Democrat Party, that is not good for them at all. And I know Republicans for years, that was their coalition, but guess what? That didn't work for them. That did not work for the GOP outside of midterms. And even then, Democrats, according to this poll, they would have barely won the popular vote in 2022 if it was Trump versus Harris. Barely. So already, this is not a good sign for Dems. Like, if 2024, your best case scenario was a small popular vote victory, and that wouldn't have been enough to win, already you're in trouble. But there are other data points out there to suggest this is not a fluke. This is a trend that's more than likely going to continue after Trump. Just look at this. We have brand new voter registration numbers across the country, not just one state, not just two. And I know in the month of February, there's a lot of people that get purged from the voter rolls. I get that. But look at that. Republicans had a net gain over Democrats of over 270,000 votes across the board in just 1 month. In one update, they had a net gain of 270,000 voters. You do that every couple of months. Republicans gain 200,000, 200,000, 220,000. Slowly but surely, you're talking about like 1 million every single year that are becoming Republicans. And if that happens, how is that good for Dems? I don't see how this is positive at all. Because if that continues, that just indicates, oh yeah, these unregistered voters, they're just Republicans. They're not registered. They're not interested in politics. But if they do get registered, they're going to vote. And they're going to be Republicans. How is that good for Dems? I honestly don't know how. I don't know how anyone can look at this and say, oh yeah, the 2024 results were not bad, and the voter registration numbers, oh, it's a fluke. It's not. This has been going on for years. But in fact, in recent weeks, it has accelerated, which kind of makes sense. I mean, the Democrat Party since 2024, they've lost their minds, which they already kind of did beforehand. But now they've gone off the rails completely. I mean, seriously, you're defending these Venezuelan gains? You're saying we shouldn't deport them? Really? That's what you're talking about? That's why the Democrat Party, that's why they're collapsing. That's why these results happen in 24. That's why the voter registration numbers have gotten even worse for Dems. And now there's a brand new poll from NBC. And I know we talked about favorability a couple days ago, but there's a brand new one that was even worse for the Democrat Party. The last one was CNN. They had it at 29%. NBC, they have it at 27%, say they have a positive view of the Democrat Party, which is the party's lowest positive rating in NBC News polling dating back to 1990. Just 7% of those say they have a very positive view of the Democrat Party. Yeah. So, in just a couple of days, it dropped even further. Yeah, this poll was conducted like 2 or 3 days after the CNN poll. So it dropped even more. So you're telling me that every couple of days it keeps going down? And I know a part of this is because Democrats are furious with their party. I get that. But at some point, how can anyone look at this and say, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with this? It is so bad that a Democrat pollster, the one that conducts the poll for NBC, he said, with these numbers, the Democratic Party is not in need of a rebrand. It is in need of a reboot. Yeah, that's a Democrat pollster saying this. He is saying, these numbers are so bad, a rebrand is not going to fix it. They need to reboot the entire party. And he's right. I mean, seriously, it's been going down for years. It went from like 45% 2 years ago to now it's like 27%. Just a couple weeks ago, it was 32%. So it keeps going down and down and down. And there's a good chance that with the CR disaster last week for Dems, there's a good chance this could drop even more. Listen, I thought we hit rock bottom a couple days ago. I thought 29% favorability is the lowest it could get. But no, by some miracle, it gets even worse. It keeps going down. Slowly but surely, it keeps going down 2 to 3% every single day. Voter registration looks horrible for Dems. And even their own studies of 2024 indicates they're screwed. I mean, seriously, are there any positive indicators for Democrats anywhere? Their numbers keep dropping. Their own studies they conducted indicate it gets even worse for them. voter registration swings even more against them, and they are losing these 80-20 issues every single day. Just as an example, the transgender stuff. I really thought that some Democrats would have waken up and said, okay, the transgender stuff is not a winner for us. In fact, it's a big loser for us. It's an 80-20 issue. We got to moderate just a little bit. They won't even do that. In fact, they are tripling down on these insane policies. They're tripling down on policies that the vast majority of Americans disagree with. And they wonder why they're at 25% favorability. Again, some of it is because Democrats are mad. They're like, oh, they're not standing up to Orange Man. But guys, this includes independents. These are independent voters saying this party has gone off the rails. And now their own studies are confirming they're looking like a dying party. I mean, can anyone name a single demographic that is shifting heavy to the Democrat Party? I can think of only one. And even then, there's a big catch to this. The only demographic that's even remotely shifting Democrat are old, white, college-educated resist liberals. That's the only demographic that shifted towards Harris in 2024. You think I'm kidding? That's what the exit polls showed. That, yeah, that's the only demographic that had any shift towards Harris in 24. And even then, I don't really think they're shifting Democrat. It's more so they're just replacing the old vote of 10 years ago. Because guess what? Older people die. And the old people of 10 years ago, they were way more conservative, but they're dying out now. And they're being replaced by boomers. And guess what? The boomer generation, way more Democrat. So even then, that's kind of misleading. All that's happening is they're replacing the old vote, and it's not really shifting Democrat. So even then, no demographic is really shifting towards the Democrat Party. Every other demographic that's significant, young people, non-white voters, really any demographic I could think of, it is shifting towards the Democrat or Republican Party. Catholic voters, even like Jewish voters, Muslim voters, they're all shifting towards the Republican Party. There's not one group that is really shifting towards Dems, and I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. In fact, it may get even worse for this party because they are tripling down on appeasing the radical base. And that's going to just isolate themselves even further from the rest of their vote. I don't know how Democrats recover from this. I mean, again, they can, but right now it's looking like this party's dead. Act Blue's falling apart, their main fundraising arm. It looks like it's going to be dead. They are getting crushed in every poll. Their voter registration numbers have gotten even worse. And even their own studies admits that 2024 could have been even worse for them. And there's a good chance come 2028, it could get even worse for this party. I'm not trying to get arrogant. I'm not trying to say the party's dead for sure, but there's a lot of indicators out there to indicate, yeah, this is a dying party, which I'm not trying to say this party's for sure going to die, but here's my prediction. If this party doesn't change course now or within the next couple of years, there's a good chance that this party's dead within 10 years. I know that sounds crazy, but the more you look at these numbers, the worse it gets for them. The worse it gets for Democrats. Even their own studies, which I can't get over that they released this, their own studies admit that they would have still lost in a best case scenario. Really? Against Trump? Who you can argue is one of, if not the most divisive people in American politics, your best case scenario would have still been a defeat? Yeah, you're in a lot of trouble. And unless you change course now, you're going to get killed in 2028. Vance would absolutely kill any Democrat they run. Whether it's Harris, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, it doesn't really matter. Whoever they run against Vance, at this point in time, they're going to get killed. They're going to get killed, and they're going to lose states that haven't voted Republican in like 20, 40 years or whatever. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.